election system is a train wreck. The campaigns are too long, the campaigns are too costly, they're too rigged by gerrymandering, gerrymandered redistricting.
Next year, after the census is taken, the Wisconsin legislature engages in an exercise that is very secretive, or has been very secretive, where the leadership basically goes behind closed doors. Congressman Obey and Congressman Sensenbrenner used to take care of the congressional redistricting process by themselves, behind closed doors, and then the legislative leadership takes care of it behind closed doors. They use your tax money to pay attorneys to draw lines that by and large create districts that are not competitive, and we have only a handful of districts, including John Erpenbach's, that are even remotely competitive in this state. And it's a process that's, in my view, disgraceful. It's something we really need to change, and it's something that the public's really going to have to get excited about. Otherwise, we're going to have the same process we've had the last 5 or 6 redistricting processes, which inevitably ends up in a federal court anyway, and the public is shut out.
Dispassionate redistricting, it works. It's done in very few states. It's done in Iowa, it's done in Arizona, I think it's done in Maine, and every one of those states report lower costs, more competitive races, and better legislatures. So it's not as painful as, the reason we don't get it, of course, ties back to the money, because you only got enough money to run so many campaigns, and so the fewer competitive campaigns you have to fund, the better, the more manageable the situation is. That's a bad issue.
Available from the Joyce Foundation to set up model redistricting commissions. I'm wondering if any of you know anything about that. I understand they have money for 2 states. I don't know whether they've been picked or not, or whether Wisconsin still has a chance. The idea is that the model commissions would be not have any legal status, but that they would be a citizen group that would have some prestige, that they would come up with a good plan that then could be compared to the bad plans that the legislature comes up with, and maybe even when it goes to court, have a standard that the judge could use to compare with the others with. So have you ever heard anything about
we
those
didn't
proposals?
want any member of the legislature to know, but yes, that's certainly
All
right, so tell me about this one.
it's a secret commission, John. I can't tell you. It's open to only citizens, not legislators. Well, there is the Joyce Foundation and a number of other foundations around the country are very, very concerned about redistricting. It's the next big reform, and so Wisconsin this summer, and you'll all be invited. There's going to be a conference in Madison in the 3rd week in July, and the idea is to set up a alternative commission and to have the ability to draw maps, just as the legislature will be able to have the ability to draw maps, and to configure a plan for the state of Wisconsin that will be, we hope, competitive and result in more competitive districts. And we're under no illusions that the legislature or the governor are going to immediately embrace reform of the process, but we want to at least be able to have the public see that there's another way that it can be done, rather than paying, Foley and Marder or Michael Best and Friedrich and other $300 an hour attorneys with taxpayer money to draw the lines, and that it can be public. And as Bill mentioned, Iowa is the model. Iowa has the way they do it is they have what's called a Legislative Reference Bureau, draws up the plan. It's nonpartisan, and they present it to the legislature. The legislature can reject it twice. The 3rd time, that's the plan. The plan is the plan that is drawn up by a nonpartisan group. We'd like to even maybe have a nonpartisan reference bureau with maybe some citizen input as well. So, I mean, there's lots of things out there, some possibilities, but yes, we're beginning this summer, absolutely.
Another thing that might be a possibility would be that this is the first time that redistricting will be available to pretty much anybody with a laptop computer. And there will be open source software that people can use to draw lines, and it kind of takes some of the mystery away from the process. And I think in Ohio, the league is looking at doing a contest where they would have school groups doing redistricting. And yeah, to see and to shine a light on how they do it and contrast it to how it's done.
with Crayolas. No, I'm just kidding. A couple of things. I think the legislature in Iowa is set up a little bit different than it is here, and that might have something to do with the way they do the legislative or redistricting process. For the most part, the district that state legislators run in the Assembly and the State Senate are drawn by judges. You know, like I say, we have ours, they have theirs. In the end, we draw with whatever the judges come up with. So we don't have a lot of say in the end. I think, like I said, we should just skip the legislative process, let the judges go ahead and do it. Where there isn't a lot of discussion or a lot of public purview is at the congressional levels. As I think Jay or somebody said, where Congressman Obie and Sensenbrenner sit down, draw a map, everybody agrees, Democrat, and this is the map that everybody in Congress runs under. So there is a little bit of a difference. I just don't think we should go through the legislative process where we know where it's all going to end up anyways.
Yeah, just so you know, in Wisconsin, as late as 1998, there were arguably five competitive congressional districts, including the 2nd congressional district. By this last year, only the 8th district, the Fox Valley, isn't even remotely competitive. Every other district, congressional district, is by and large safe. The 7th district, now that Obie's retiring, is considered competitive, but if you look at the numbers, it's really not. It's really a Democratic district. So, I mean, if there's a tsunami, a Republican wave, then yes, sometimes you will have people that will come in. But that's really not how congressional districts or legislative districts ought to be. There ought to be many more that are competitive. The 2nd congressional district used to have, didn't used to have Beloit. Now it does. That's a Democratic city, and so that makes the 2nd safe Democratic. It used to be a fairly competitive district, and we had a competitive election in 2000 when John Sharp was ran against Tammy Baldwin. The competition's good. It makes candidates better. It makes legislators and congresspeople better, I think.